Hello people, I'm Tom Heats, welcome on my channel, and today we're going to talk about Algorand. And at first we're going to have a look at the institutions behind Algorand, and there are mainly three parts which are responsible for the Algorand platform, and that's Algo Capital, Algorand Foundation, and Algorand Incorporated. The Algo Capital is a company which specializes in developing financial products which accelerate access, adoption, and liquidity of Algo, which is the native currency of Algorand. Then we have the Algorand Foundation, which is responsible for the token distribution, and they periodically release new Algo tokens. Followed by Algorand Incorporated, which is responsible for the actual development of the Algorand platform, or smart contracts, which will be able in the future, or pure proof of stake, which is already working right now. The CEO of Algorand Incorporated is Silvio Micheli, and this is actually a pretty genius guy. He is the 2012 Turing Award winner, and the Turing Award is like the Nobel Prize for computer science, so a pretty honored reward. He is an Italian computer scientist at MIT Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory, and also a professor for computer science at MIT. And he's pretty respected in the blockchain space. For example, Charles Hoskinson once tweeted and congratulated him for the launch of Algorand. Next up we have token economics. The team, foundation, and investors receive 25% of the tokens. The public sale is 30%. Node running grant is 25%. Participation rewards is 17.5%. And the end user grant tokens are 2.5%. Now we're going to look at how the whole project is funded. And while Algorand did not conduct an actual private token sale, Algorand Incorporated, which is the parent company, as I've said before, did conduct equity raises of $4 million in February 2018 and $62 million in October 2018. And this was to fund the protocol development. And the equity investors own a portion of the Algorand Incorporated company. And next up we have the public sale, and as I've said before, the Algo tokens are distributed by the Algorand Foundation via a series of Dutch auctions. The first auction was conducted on June the 19th of 2019 with 25 million tokens sold at a price of $2.4. And this raised a capital of $60 million US. And it's important to know that Algorand will continue to conduct periodic public auctions with a total auction supply of up to 600 million Algos per year over the next 5 years. So over the next 5 years, the Algorand Foundation will release here and then some Algo tokens. Now, what are the funds used for? So 25% go into research and development, 18% is for community and marketing, and 30% of the funds are being used for general and administrative stuff. And now we are going to dive into Algorand, and what they're actually trying to solve is the Blockchain Trilemma. And the Blockchain Trilemma was first mentioned by Vitalik Buterin, I think. And this trilemma says that if you want to build a distributed ledger, you can only have two of those three. So, for example, if you have a blockchain which is scalable and decentralized, it can't be also secure. And this is really important. This is a really important part. So every part is very necessary for the blockchain, because if you have a scalable and decentralized blockchain but it's not secure, well, the blockchain won't be resistant to third-party attacks. And Algorand is actually trying to solve this. right now at the current state they haven't solved this trilemma to 100%, but I will be very looking forward to the future if they are actually able to solve it. And also I will be I'm really looking forward to publications of the research, and I will guys let you know about future updates. Next up we have pure proof of stake, which is the consensus algorithm of Algorand. And at first, pure proof of stake might not seem very different to the original proof of stake, which the majority of you guys know, I think. But if you could look closer, there are actually some minor differences. For example, in Algorand, if you send one transaction and it is confirmed, it has one confirmation, then you can be sure that the transaction will be recognized as a valid transaction, and it will stay forever in the blockchain. In comparison with Bitcoin, for example, you can say the transaction is valid if it has, for example, 6 confirmations. So you don't have to wait for the transaction to be valid. If it is already in the blockchain, then it will stay there forever. You have to know that addresses can be active or offline. So if you look at the website, you have addresses. You can also do this via command line, of course, and you can use the website to activate the address or to set it offline. So if you want to participate in the pure proof of stake algorithm, you don't need to lock your coins. And this is very different to a lot of blockchain projects out there which are using proof of stake. Because there you actually need a wallet and a certain amount of tokens and then lock them. And in Algorand it is very different. You just have addresses. If you activate them, then you can participate in the next round of finding a block proposer. And that's very flexible approach to proof of stake, because you can actually go and come as you want. And if you feel in a mood to participate if you need some tokens, you just activate the wallet. You don't need a certain amount to participate, and your wallet will be, or your address will be, if you're lucky, will be selected. And that's the point here. Of all active addresses, 1,000 addresses will be selected and will be fighting for being the next one block proposer. So there's only one block proposer, and the block proposer relies on the token amount. So if you have more tokens, you're more likely to append the block to the next blockchain and to receive a certain amount of algo tokens. It's also important to note that the network relies on a 2/3 majority. So if you have 33% of all the algo tokens available, you will be able to manipulate the network. But I guess this won't be in any interest, because if you have 33% of all algo tokens, it's not your interest to actually manipulate the network, because you will also lose money if you are going to do this. And this is where Algorand is often being criticized for, because if you have more tokens, you will more likely be the next block proposer. And of course, there's only one block proposer. So the richer become richer, and the poorer, well, they won't get poorer, but there is a really small chance for them to become the block proposer. And Algorand has said that they will work on this problem, and they have said that in future they want to, or they're really researching in being a very decentralized system, and also to decentralize the pure proof of stake in a very efficient way. So they're really working on this and trying to find better ways of doing pure proof of stake. The relay nodes are much more hardware intensive than the participation nodes, because you have to keep up connections with a lot of different servers. You have a lot of different nodes which you are being connected to, and transfer information. in comparison, the participation node is only responsible for participating in pure proof of stake. And the participation node is not connected with other participation nodes. It's just, or usually it's just connected with a relay node, and the relay node is connected with participation nodes. So that's a little bit hard to understand. And last but not least, we are going to dive into the roadmap. And there we have Pixel, which is responsible for reducing the space requirements through committee member signature aggregation, while still maintaining forward security through key rotation, followed by the self-validating transactions. And the self-validating transaction is an advance that allows separation of consensus and storage to enhance the efficiency and the logical structure of the Algorand blockchain. Next up, we have atomic swaps, which will be able to implement same chain swaps of assets without any type of time or hash locks in one single transaction. Then we have post and sale trades, and the technology behind it will allow any seller to post assets for sale at a given price. And any buyer can browse these offers, pay the price, and receive the asset immediately without having to interact at all with the seller or any third party, of course. And last but not least, we have smart contracts, which I'm really interested in because there are actually many blockchain projects out there to build a very efficient smart contracting platform. And I will be very interested in how Algorand will solve this. Summarizing, we can say that Algorand is a very interesting project with some very fancy ways of finding solutions or solving problems like the Blockchain Trilemma. There are also very genius people behind it, like Silvio Micheli. What I find a little bit questionable is the actual use case of Algorand. So right now, I don't have the opinion or have the impression that there is a use case out there which we can fully apply Algorand on. For example, if you look at Bitcoin, which enables us to store value. If you look at the payment methods like Litecoin, or EOS, which is enabling dApps, Ethereum enabling smart contracts, Tron, which is a utility token, or IOTA, which is a currency for IoT. And Algorand is, I have the impression Algorand is trying to let the community decide what their actual use case is. And right now they haven't really found it yet. This will be a question for the future if Algorand is able to find an actual use case. And I'm really interested in your opinion. What do you think of this project? If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, I'd be glad if you're subscribed. And with that being said, see you next time.